Skill and a very good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome once again to the weekly Sunday Pūjā in Unison and Dimension Online, an initiative of the 𝓟𝓾𝓷𝓷 Buddhist Council of Malaysia, and it is hosted by MSBS and DBV. It's certainly good to see all of you healthy once again on this online platform. Today is the 7th of April 2024. To begin today's puja, I shall now invite Sister Doris to read out the offerings in English. What do you say, Doris?
Thank you, Brother Terence. Suki Hontu, a very good morning to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. It is a great blessing to be able to come together for Sunday morning puja and to review our precepts. Let us compose our minds and reflect on the meaning of the virtual offerings that we shall make with full respect to our blessed teacher, the Buddha. Offerings of light. May we offer these candles burning brightly out of deep respect and veneration to our enlightened master, the Buddha. May these lights guide us to the light of the Dhamma, which dispels the darkness of greed with the light of generosity, the gloominess of hatred with the light of love, and the darkness of ignorance with the light of wisdom, through the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Offering of joss sticks and incense. May we offer these joss sticks and incense out of deep respect and veneration to our blessed master, the Buddha. May the fragrance of these joss sticks and incense be pleasing unto the gods and devas. May our good deeds be like the fragrance of these joss sticks, cultivating compassion, patience, tolerance, understanding, and love toward all living things. Offering of water. May we offer this water to symbolize our aspiration to cultivate the virtues of calmness, clarity, and purity. Let it remind us to diligently cleanse ourselves of our spiritual defilements and delusion through the cultivation of generosity, compassion, and wisdom. Offering of flowers. These flowers too we offer out of deep respect and gratitude to our compassionate master, the Buddha. These flowers, sweet, beautiful, and choice, are clustered at the feet of our noble master. Beautiful as they are now, they will soon, with passing of time, wilt and fade and be cast away. Reflecting thus on this very nature of unsatisfactoriness, impermanence, and soullessness, let us tread the path shown by the Buddha for the eradication of suffering here and now. So let us start today's puja chanting by giving salutation to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha by saying sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinna dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. ขามิสุมิจฉาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิมุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยมัจจาภมาทัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะดังสมาธิยามิอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิจจาจารณสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิดูอนุตตโรปุริสดัมมสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสสานังพุทโธภะคะวาติสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันดิตติโกอัคคาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปัญญิโกปัจจัตตังเวดิตัพโววินยูหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติดังจัตถาริปุริสยุกานิอัตถาปุริสปุกกลาเอสาภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนโยพาหุเนโยดักขิเนโยอัญจาลิการณีโยอนุตตรังปุญญเขตังโลกสาติ
วันดามิเจติยังสัพบังสัพบาตาเนสุปฏิติตังสารีริกดาตุมหาโบธิงบุตตารูปังสกลังสดายัสสะมูเลนิสินโนวาสัพบาริวิจายังอากาปโตสัพพัญญุตังสัตตาวันเดตังโบธิปาดปังอิเมเอเตมหาโบธิโลกนาเตนะปูจิตาอหังปิเตนะมัสสามิโบธิราชนามาตุเตกานาสารัปปดีเตนะดีเปนะตามดังสินาติโลกดีปังสัมบุตตังปูจยามิตโมนุดังกันดสัมบารายุตเตนะดูเปนะหังสุกันดินาปูจาเยปูจนียังตังปูจาบาจานะมุตตมังอดิวาเสตุโนบันเตปานิยังปาริกัปปิตังอนุคัมปังอุปาดายาปฏิกันหาตุมุตตมังอดิวาเสตุโนบันเตโบจานังปาริกัปปิตังอนุคัมปังอุปาดายาปฏิกันหาตุมุตตมังอดิวาเสตุโนบันเตกิลานะปัจจายังอิมังอนุคัมปังอุปาดายาปฏิกันหาตุมุตตมังวันนากันดากุโนเปตังเอตังกุสุมสันตติงปูจายามิมุนินดาสสิริปาดสโรรุเฮปูเจมิบุตตังกุสุเมนะเนนะปุญเยนะเมตเตนะจะโหตุโมกขังปุป ปังมิลายาติยถาอิดังเมกายโยตตายาติวินัสสบาวังอากาสตาจบุมมาตาเดวานากามหิตดิกาปุญญังตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรังรักขันตุโลกสาสนังอากาสตาจบุมมาตาเดวานากามหิตดิกาปุญญังตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรังรักขันตุเดสนังอากาสตาจบุมมัตตาเดวานากามหิตดิกาปุญญังตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรังรักขันตุมังปารังตีเดโววัสสตุกาเลนะสัสสะสัมปาติเหตุเจปิโตภาวตุโลโกเจราจาภาวตุดัมมิโกอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิมินาปุญญกัมเมนะมาเมบาลสัมมากัมโมสัตตังสัมมากัมโมโหตุยาวานิบบานปัตติยากายเนวัจจาจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังคามะเมบันเตบุริปัญญาตตากตากายเนวาจาจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังคามะเมดัมมาสันดิตติกาอากาลิกากายเนวาจาจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังคามะเมสังฆาสุปฏิปันนาอนุตตราการณียมัตตกุสเลนะยันตังสันตังปาดังอภิสัมเมจเจสักโกอุจูจสุจูจสุวาโจจัสสมุดุอนาติมานิสันตุสักโกจสุบาโรจอัปปกิจโจจสัลลหุกวุตติสันตินดริโยจนิปโกจอัปปกัปโบกุเลสุอนานุกิตโดนาจกุดดังสมาจาริกินจิเยนะวินโยปาเรอุปาวะเดยุงสุกิโนวะเกมิโนหนตุสัพเพสัตตาภาวันตุสุขิตัตตาเยเคจิปานาบูตัตติตัสสาวาตาวราวาอนาวเสสาดีกาวาเยมหันตาวามัจจิมารัสกานุกตุลาดิตตาวาเยวะอัดดิตตาเยจะดูเรวสันติอวิดูเรบูตาวาสัมภเวสีวาสัพเบสัตตาภวันตุสุขิตัตตานาปโรปารังนิคุปเบตานาติมัญเยตกัต cinangkanci diaro sana patigasannya na nyamannya sadukka micceya mata yathani yang putang ayusa eka putta manurakke ewam pisa bebutesu manasang bawaye aparimanang mettang ca sabbalokasming manasang bawaye aparimanang Uddang ado ca tirian ca asang badang awerang asapatang titang carang nisinnowa sayanowa yawatassa wigata middo etang satin aditteya brahma metang viharang idamahu Dittinja anupagamma silawa dasanena sampanno kamesu vinaya gedang nahi jatu gap baseyang punareti etena satcha vachena sotite hotu sabbada Etena satcha vachena sotite hotu sabbada. Etena satcha vachena sotite hotu sabbada. By this declaration of the truth, may you be safe at all times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Sister Doris and Sister Cheng, for today's nice Sunday Puja chanting. Now, back with us this week, we have Bro Tan Leng Huat to share on what has Buddhism taught me. Over to you, Bro Tan Leng Huat.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Brother Terence and the chanters. Thank you very much for that nice chanting. Okay, to begin with, let me also pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, today I have chosen to kind of share what Buddhism has taught me. This is actually in line with our, of course, now is the Qingming season. Many of us are busy going to the cemetery and all those things. So it is in line with that kind of cultural practice and what we learn from that. That is my approach, So let us revisit the event. I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories about this event and the significance of this Qingming festival. I'm sure you've heard a lot. So anyway, I will not want to go too much in detail, but we will just touch on the rituals again now. Touch on the event, the rites and rituals of this ceremony. So actually, this is our Chinese traditional practice, whereby we visit our ancestors' graves. We visit our ancestors' graves, and then we make offerings. Correct? We make offerings, and these offerings will vary from. If it's in a columbarium, of course, it is dictated by the management of the columbarium, whether vegetarian or otherwise. But if you go to the cemetery, of course, I think many of us will not bother much with the cemetery, with the vegetarian diet, knowing very well that our forefathers, our ancestors were not vegetarian. So what we will do is we bring the best out of food that we can think of, what they like to eat. Maybe the Peranakan, they like the ponte. But bring the ponte there. 𝘿𝙖𝙖 there for the Chinese, or 𝘿𝑝, all those things we bring there. And then, of course, we will try to go as early as possible. And normally what happens is we will go as early as possible because during this season, the cemetery will be very, very, very congested. Some people go as early as 5 a.m., they bring the torchlights there just to avoid the congestion. Then they bring the torchlight there, and then they have to shine there, and then they clean the graves, they pull all the weeds, and in case there are a lot of, all the rubbish will be cleared. That is an annual event for us. Before the worshipping begins, we clean everything up, we put the colored paper on the graves, signifying that, okay, this grave has got very good ancestors. They have come to visit this grave, correct? So that others, when they pass by, say, oh, okay, this grave got ancestors, they came to pay visit, So these are the kind of things that we do. Okay, then after that, we will, of course, put in all the favorite food there. We put in all the favorite food for offerings, and after that, what do we do with the food? Some of us will remain there, particularly like our family, we will remain there. All the food is there, and all our extended relatives are there. What do? We eat lah, correct? So this food don't go to waste, Some people say, "What for you waste all this?" No, it doesn't go to waste. Our tradition is such that these things don't go to waste. We must remember, the Chinese tradition is very beautiful. So we what we do is we will eat there lah. We enjoy and laughing, It's kind of a gathering for us lah. So at least this culture is very good. At least it has brought us together. It brought all of us, our extended family, together once a year. If not for the Chinese New Year, for Qingming, many of them will not miss. Right? Chinese New Year, sometimes the eve, people go traveling and they won't come to your house, or we may not be able to get a crowd, Your family may not be there. But for Qingming, I'm sure many of these extended families will come. All right? Then we'll get together lah. And of course, we will offer the paraphernalia, the mock money, or the American dollars there, the printed ones, of course. These are all mock monies, not real. And also hell notes, we will burn paper gifts, and we know sometimes we even burn, we also burn those replica shirts and all those pens and coat and cars and television, not even credit card also lah. Right. After all, our jobs is there now, isn't it? So, okay, so credit card also will be burned. We give them all kinds of things, cars and all those things. And of course, we will be this in gratitude. The important thing is in gratitude. And at the end of the day, like I've said, we will makan. We makan. But at least what this cultural event has achieved is it can bring the extended family together. At least, right? And then I don't see it as a waste. Don't think it is a waste, because the food eventually kita makan juga lah, itu food. Kita tak ada buangnya lah. So we will be eating the food lah. But then again, okay, now we come to the subject of, again, what has Buddhism taught me? Now, when you start to reflect on this ceremony, when you first become a Buddhist, I've heard also from one lady, recently also. Well, many of us are confused, confused about this practice. One lady was saying, go to the grave, 30 years old grave, for all you know, even the bones are all turned to dust already, all has deteriorated. There's nothing there, kosong one. And then we learn from Buddhism that when you pass away, you get an immediate rebirth. So what are we praying for, So we have this confusion now, we Buddhists, in the early days of when Buddhism was introduced to me, I was also confused, because I'm a firm believer of the Buddhist Dhamma, the Buddha's Dhamma. So I became confused also. Many of us are confused. Ini betul tak ada betul. We go there and then we pai, and then all these things. Wasting of time, we say, But then, like I've said again, it is not a waste of time, not a waste of money. At least this ceremony has brought us and our extended family together. Minimum once a year we meet. And for those people who never remember their ancestors, okay, we Buddhists, every time we do a puja, we dedicate memories to our ancestors. But many people don't do that. So at least once a year they remember. At least once a year they remember their ancestors. They come and right. So it has achieved that purpose. Although we become confused, like I've said, we will say that this is the paganist practice, isn't it? Huh? This is the paganist practice, isn't it? Coming here, coming here, and then we sweep the tomb. So is this a Buddhist practice? So we ask ourselves, But of course, I don't see any sutta saying that Qingming must go to temple. Correct? There's no such suttas in our tradition that says that Qingming must go to temple. Correct? So in short, we are saying that it's not directly mentioned as a core teaching of Buddhism. Right? But it can be related to the broader Buddhist principles of filial piety. Don't forget, the Buddha spent a lot of time teaching us filial piety and gratitude. So this is actually, the Buddha's approach is different from the cultural approach. Okay? So now we remember that the Buddha says that filial piety and gratitude, this is our Buddhist concept of doing this merit-making event. For us, it's like merit-making. We pai, we reflect our gratitude, and we will come to that later. So we reflect our gratitude, we do good things, then that means it's merit-making. That is, at least that is how the Buddha has approached it for us. We learn and this as a merit-making. And then also the strong emphasis of filial piety. Don't forget, Buddhism actually emphasizes a lot of filial piety. Although we say the act of sweeping the tomb and all those things are not, while not explicitly a Buddhist practice, but it aligns to a lot of Buddhist values. Honoring one's ancestors and making merits for them. This is a very important thing for us. So we should continue to do this, right? Although people challenge you, mana ada tu sutta cakap kita mau pergi Qingming, tak ada. But our sutta will say we must honor our ancestors, and we must make merits for them, and do good in their name. This is very significant in Buddhism, correct? So we hope that when we do this, it will reflect for our children to continue to respect us also after we have died. Now, this respecting again, this respecting of children to show gratitude. So it is like we say, it's emphasized by the Buddha. Okay, we'll continue first. We talk about faith now. So this is done in good faith through the Buddhist values. We believe in, because the Buddhist values are all talking about compassion and filial piety. So this is a very specific one and very good because it brings our family together. So faith in Buddhism, so we follow this as part of our faith. But many of us are sometimes influenced by the Western Buddhism. We call it the secular Buddhism, which emphasizes more on actually meditation. They focus more on meditation. While we, the Eastern Buddhists, we also incorporate traditions and cultural practice into our belief, right? It is quite different from the secular Buddhism practice in the West. But in modern Asia also, we find that many of these youngsters, they think they're all champion now, and all becoming orang putih already. So they don't want to follow our culture. They say this is not a Buddhist practice. They say that this is not original, not early Buddhism. So they condemn this as not early Buddhism, and they only want to follow Western kind of Buddhism, which is actually in line with other religions, very modern. They think very modern, but they forgot the other religions also go also. They still have the blessings of the grave. The blessing of the grave is very, very good event. I think it's practiced by all races. You're not mistaken. Of course, everybody will value most filial piety. So our Asians sometimes become a bit more orang putih than orang putih. They forgot their values, So they say, oh, this is not original Buddhism. This is not early Buddhism. So these terms have come up original Buddhism early Buddhism macam-macam So by contrast to this typical modernist trend, some Western Buddhist communities show great commitment to the practice and belief for the reason they are more traditional religious than most form of New Age spirituality. So even the West are following a little bit of the culture now, you know. So the East don't give up, you know. So our friends all here, our people who think that this is all, I think they should try to be failure. Furthermore, several Buddhist teachers have spoken out against interpretation of Buddhism that do away with all faith. You know, many of these teachers have actually, Western teachers, they are also actually promoting this kind of cultural practices. You know, they're out against this thought interpretation where this is not in the early Buddhist context, not in the early suttas, not early Buddhism, not macam-macam lah. Even the Western teachers now, example, even Bhikkhu Bodhi agrees that many Westerns have misunderstood the concept of Kalama Sutta. Correct. Even Bhikkhu Bodhi, he's an American, renowned American Buddhist teacher. Our great Bhikkhu Bodhi, he's written many books. So he also says that actually they have misunderstood the Kalama Sutta. That says give up all your tradition, give up tradition, give up culture. You know, so people use that, you know, and think, oh, we should give up. Kalama Sutta says in order to practice all this, give up all this. But then actually they are not right lah. They are not right lah. So okay. So you see, so Bhikkhu Bodhi agrees that many Western have misunderstood the Kalama Sutta. As Buddhism teaches that faith, personal verification go hand in hand. Faith should not be discarded. Correct? That is what he says. Faith and traditions should not be discarded. This goes hand in hand. Correct? So what we will say here is actually what do you mean by this will go hand in hand? This faith and all that must not be discarded, you know, because this truth is realized by the Buddha. Bukan the Buddha baca buku, you know. The Buddha's enlightenment, the Buddha's wisdom is not through academic qualification, you know, but through his experience, tau ka? I'm sorry, but I'm using a lot of my local language because there are a lot of my local friends in Malacca. We speak Malay when we meet each other, our culture lah, Peranakan. So I because I know that there's a group of them that is listening. They will put the Facebook there, and then a group of these old ladies who listen. They are very dedicated ladies. So okay, so I got to speak a bit to suit them lah, if you don't mind. Okay, jadi when the Buddha, this is not mind lah. We're not saying that the Buddha learn it from people to teach him. No, the Buddha says it very clearly in 2 suttas. Okay, and many suttas lah, but I'm familiar with these 2 suttas. I share with you these 2 suttas. Number 1, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Remember, the Buddha says that. Now, we must always remember the Buddha is talking from his experience, you know, not from his academic qualification. So the Buddha said, Idang dukkhaṃ arya sacchantime bhikkhave. This suffering, the noble truth that arose in me. I'm using one but because he repeats this in all the suffering stanzas. So the Buddha says, what is important here? Concerning things that are not heard before, his experience, you know, not because he heard it before. Pubbhe ananussute sudhammesu, the Buddha says. Okay? Pubbhe ananussute sudhammesu cakkung udapadi, jnanang udapadi, panya udapadi, vidya udapadi, aloko udapadi. What does it mean? The Buddha says these are things that I have not heard before. Don't think I copied it from people and I'm teaching you. These are his experience. He knows, and this final piety and all that are his experience. Okay? And then he says that such is the vision, the knowledge, the wisdom and science and the light. Those arose in him through his own practice. Not copied, through his own practice. So remember the stanza, Pubbhe ananussute sudhammesu, Cakung udapadi, Nyanang udapadi, Panya udapadi, Vidya udapadi, Aloko udapadi. I'm choosing this stanza because I have a group of friends who are learning Chan, and we are now learning the Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta. So I prefer to quote this for that to be all answer. But it is very important. This is the gist of the Buddha's teaching anyway. We must realize the Buddha's enlightenment is not through his academic qualification or nothing but his experience. And also, if you can remember the Vimangsaka Sutta. This one maybe I'll read to you a bit of this sutta. Mendicant, a mendicant who is an inquirer, people who are very suspicious, who are like to inquire, unable to comprehend another's mind, should scrutinize the realized one to see whether he is fully awakened Buddha or not. Correct? We have doubt in the Buddha. The Buddha invites us to have doubt in him. There's no problem. You can have doubt in the Buddha. You can question the Buddha. That is the specialty of our teacher. He does not say you must listen to him. Don't question me. I punish you. No. You can question him. So the Buddha says, who is an inquirer? Mendicant, a mendicant who is an inquirer, unable to comprehend another's mind, should scrutinize the realized one to see whether he is fully awakened Buddha or not. Okay? The ability to comprehend this mind of another was considered an advanced meditative skill, not accessible even to all arahants. It allowed me to read the mind of another to the extent of one's own realization. Okay, so our teachings are rooted in the Buddha. He is our guide, our refuge. Sir, may the Buddha please clarify meaning of this. The mendicant will listen and remember it. So ask the Buddha, you clarify what you mean by this. Then the Buddha says, well then, mendicant, listen and apply your mind well. I will speak. Yes, sir, they replied. The Buddha said, mendicant, a mendicant who is an inquirer, unable to comprehend another's mind, should scrutinize the realized one for two things. The Buddha says, you must scrutinize me for two things. Okay? Which is the first thing? The two things, the things that can be seen and heard. The two things that can be seen and heard. You test me on that, the Buddha says. Can anything corrupt be seen or heard in the realized one or not? The Buddha says, have you heard about me being corrupted? Right? Or have you heard of me being corrupted? Yeah, the Buddha says, no, Buddha. Yes. So that is how you test the Buddha. The first thing is to test whether he's corrupted or not. Correct? This refers to bodily behavior that may be seen or speech that may be heard. Scrutinizing him, they will find nothing corrupt can be seen or heard in the realized one. Seen and heard is because of this, whether he does things wrongly or he speaks wrongly. Seen and heard, two things. So the Buddha says, can you see me corrupted? Heard about me corrupted? He said, no, very good. Okay, then they scrutinize further. Can anything mixed be seen or heard in the realized one or not? Scrutinize him, they find there's nothing mixed that can be seen or heard in the realized one. Okay, so they're clear. Okay, so then the Buddha, they scrutinize further. Can anything be clear? Can anything clean be seen or heard in the realized one or not? Scrutinize him, and they find that clean things can be seen and heard in the realized one. So that is how you should test the Buddha. Make sure that he is not saying something and doing something. Okay. So another thing they say, you scrutinize further, did the Venerable attain this skillful state a long time ago or just recently? It's easy to maintain a front for a while, but defilement tend to reveal themselves over time. Scrutinizing him, they find that the Venerable attained this skillful state a long time ago, not just recently. Some people pretend to be good for a while, that's what the Buddha says. So you must screen them. Sometimes they pretend to be good for a while, then when you go away, they do something else. But no, the Buddha, you test him and you watch him, he does things in front of you, the same thing he does behind you. Okay? So that is the quality, the 9 virtues of the Buddha, one of his virtues. He says and do it, that's all. Okay? So that is how we must test lah. And then now, in the Buddhist, devotee should verify moral judgment and truth by personal experience. That's what we say lah. Okay, you must realize all this by personal experience. And how to get this personal experience? Correct. This leads to provision acceptance called preserving the truth. Faith goes hand in hand with an open attitude of willingness to learn and experiment. Faith is not something which we can mind. You got to go hand in hand with preserving the truth. Faith goes hand in hand with an open attitude of willingness to learn and experiment, familiarizing oneself with the teaching. Though personal verification, a personal faith deepens when you personally test the Buddha's teaching. Right? When you have faith in his teaching, you test his teaching, and you find that your faith gets deeper and deeper because this is from experience, and you can experience the same thing. Okay. Yes. Okay. We have covered this part. Okay. Okay, so now we have covered that faith part, you know. So now we talk about gratitude, So that faith part, sometimes we do things out of faith, correct? Now we talk about gratitude. So gratitude and dana, part of that faith, correct? Then we expand that a bit. Often all those sideline, not many people like to talk about dana and gratitude. They normally say better God. They will like to talk about very high spiritual things, but they overlook at this dana thing. Correct? Okay, so now here the Buddha says, Dhamma practice and discussion as elementary. They think that this dana and all these all elementary things. Don't need. But how many of us are giving dana regularly? How many of us can do that? Of course, I know a group of ladies who are very dedicated on this, Okay, so now we say so gratitude and dana are part of faith, often sidelined by the Dhamma practice and discussion as elementary and not so profound. Ini semua budak-budak ambil cerita lah, Okay, so I would encourage you to look at it, contemplate it, and integrate this into your lives. You must integrate this kind of things into your life, not this gratitude, faith, and dana. Actively bringing to mind those who have helped you and helping them in return. This is the period of reminder. How many of us have achieved this? Correct? So when we go to the Chengbeng, we must think of this. It's gratitude, faith because we believe that when we go, we can do something good for them. They get the merits also. We also get the merits. That's part of our faith. And then we practice gratitude, which actually we will talk about it later. Gratitude make your life very serene, make our life more meaningful. Without gratitude, life is kosong, If you have no gratitude, your life is very kosong, I think. So you must have that gratitude. So actively bringing to mind those who have helped you and helping them in return. This is a period of reminder. How many of us have achieved this? People have helped us. We just say thank you. We forget about it after that. So recollecting the path is a gradual descent to the ocean. Understanding, correct? You like the ocean is deep. Always my venerable 𝓿𝓼𝓲𝓪 Siri will tell us the ocean is deep, but it doesn't go straight down vertical. It goes gradually deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So that is how we will practice. There is no direct thing that is like okay, Sabadan has got 2,000 deep kind of hanging wall. You can see we go diving there. You can see beautiful wall there. But of course, generally, the ocean gradually becomes deep. Okay. So we must always recollect the path is a gradual descent to the ocean of understanding. Correct? We cannot just jump into that deep understanding. You must practice gradually your faith. your gratitude. So this and your dana. You must have this foundation. And through this foundation, if you do it happily, like these ladies in Malacca, that always tell me when they give dana, they're very happy. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they start cooking. Before that, they go marketing. No, they're very happy. When they get what they want, and then in the morning they get up and they cook. They're very happy. And after they have served the monk, they feel great joy, And that is the mudita I'm talking about. Right? They feel the joy, through this practice. So this kind of joy, not only through our meditative practice, yes, it is one of the ways, but also if you practice this dana by making people happy, by making yourself happy, you can feel this altruistic joy also. So this group of ladies, I'm sure they are listening to me today. When after they have given, they tell me they feel very happy. And that is what I say as altruistic joy. That is the mudita they feel. They feel very happy, very relaxed after they have given dana to the monks. They do this regularly, for information. So they are very happy and they like to do. And these ladies are all over 8 years old, but still very active in this. So that is how they practice Buddhism, and that's how they experience the mudita. Right? And they say when we go back after that, gantung kaki lah, apalagi ni, sudah penat lah, apalagi kaki kena gantung lah. I mean they're tired lah. They will have to rest for a few days before they can start moving around again. Okay? And these are people over 80 now, of course, or maybe 80 and over 80 lah. Okay? So that's how they practice, And that is the faith that we have. And that kind of faith we must have. Correct? And that kind of joy we must derive from giving, from doing this practice of dana. That kind of joy we must get from being grateful. That kind of joy we must get when we have visited our ancestors' graves. We know that, I have come to see my mother, that his grave is there. I must enjoy that. I must have that feeling. That is how you should practice. And that is one way of experiencing joy. Okay? So to quote Ajahn Sumedho said also on this gratitude thing. A life without gratitude is a joyless life. Joyless life, he says. Kosong lah, nothing lah. If life is just a continuous complaint about injustice and unfairness we have received, and we didn't remember anything good ever done to us, we fall into depression. Correct? And this is not uncommon today. Don't forget, it's not uncommon. Depression is quite a common diagnosis of others, of many people. So, and then you can never imagine you'll be happy again, When you get into depression, you can never imagine you'll be happy again. You'll go deeper and deeper. So you must be careful. So when we do something good, we must try to enjoy that. And that's what I have learned now. What Buddhism has taught me is to enjoy whatever little good things I have done. I'm happy after I've taught them to chant, and I feel very happy, very relaxed, very. So a Buddhist does aspire to faith. Of course, we all want to aspire to the triple gem, aspire to the triple gem, and values of discipline. So people say, like I've told you earlier, this is all, this original Buddhism got no such thing, original Buddhism, no such thing, early Buddhism, no such thing. But you remember, in early Buddhist texts, however, faith does not mean hostile response to or lack of recognition of other deities or your ancestors. Correct? Although the Buddha refuted the bloody sacrifice, the sacrifice, very bloody, when they were slaughtered. Last time, during the Brahmanic period, they do live offerings of animals. Anything bad, they do that. So the Buddha does not advocate that kind of suffering, that kind of offering. Correct? Live animal sacrifice, the Buddha doesn't advocate. Correct? So that is early Buddhism. Okay, we agree. But he does not condemn peaceful offerings to deities. The Buddha never condemned your culture. The Buddha said, don't do this life offering, don't do this. But the Buddha never say you don't go and pay respect to your parents, don't pay respect to anything. The Buddha will not. The Buddha did not interfere with our cultural practice. The Buddha only taught us the Dhamma. Huh? So now this is very clear, you know. So sometimes people claim that this early Buddhism, we can tell them also. The Buddha refutes those animal sacrifice, we agree. Huh? But he does not condemn peaceful offering to deities. Show us where he condemned. Show us where he condemned all this. Tell us where, which chapter says that he condemned all this offering cannot be done. But consider this far. But the Buddha says, yes, this offering you do to these deities, you put under the tree. Yes, the Buddha says you put under the tree. It is better if you give to the monk. Yes. Correct? The Buddha says instead of offering it to putting it under the tree and let it remain there and rot, and then tomorrow some animals come and eat, or it just stay there to become stale food. No animals want to eat also. Don't do that, the Buddha says. If you have to do that, it's better to give to the monks. Yes, we agree. But if you put it under the tree, take it back, eat quickly. Don't leave it there overnight. Correct or not? That's what we are doing, isn't it? We buy and then we just take back. So the Buddha says it is yes. We agree that the Buddha says that those kind of offering, putting of food under the trees, Buddha says is far less meritorious than if you can offer these to the monastic sangha. Yes. But does not mean the Buddha is against all this. The Buddha is saying it's better. If you want to earn more merits, if you are so merit conscious, then you better give to the monks, get better merits. That's what the Buddha says. Okay? So actually, sometimes this faith is a little bit good. We cannot say all this is no good, you know. Sometimes when people believe in faith, they believe in law of impermanence. Example, we talk about law of impermanence, you know, everything is not permanent now. Correct? And then you learn about dukkha. The life has a lot of dukkha also. So what does this, how does this affect you? When you have this sort of faith, you become a bit more fearful about doing wrong things. Correct? You become a better person. So what do? You take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Correct? So that itself actually will help you. So when you take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha, it's a simple thing. It is simple to cultivate faith. And this faith that leads to many important mental qualities. It's the faith you have. Like I've said, when you have this kind of faith and you give dana, correct? And it gives you a lot of joy, correct? And then if you have this kind of faith in the Buddha, you learn chanting, you learn the teachings of the Buddha, you practice your concentration. It helps you in your concentration. And eventually, your insight will come. And nobody can teach you that wisdom. That wisdom must be experienced by you, must be cultivated by you through various ways of cultivation. Like I've said, you give dana all the time, you are cultivating. You chant all the time, you are cultivating. So that wisdom, that is something which nobody can teach you. But through that cultivation, you will eventually realize that wisdom. So of course, we also, again, don't forget, as I talk about faith, we don't forget that the idea of blind faith and absolute faith in the Master's word goes completely against the spirit of early Buddhism. We agree, no blind faith. Like we said, we must test, even the Buddha says you test him. Like we say how to test him, whether he's corrupted or not, whether he does this or not, you test him. There are two ways to test him: through his body, through his actions, and through his speech. Okay, so now we understand now. So that's how we have learned. That's how Buddhism has affected me. I believe in a lot of these things. Of course, I don't believe in blind faith. I do a lot of chanting, and we find the answers through the chanting. We find the answers through the concentration of chanting. We find the answers through joy. Whether true or not, you give dana and you prepare dana yourself, and you feel that ambience of joy, you know. So that is called a mudita that we can experience actually. Okay. So now, how did the Buddha approach to emphasize on the importance of gratitude and filial piety? This is about the final part that we will. I don't think I have much time, but maybe we'll talk about this part. So now, how did the Buddha talk about this? How did the Buddha stress on this filial piety. In the Katanyu Sutta, remember, Katanyu Sutta, the Buddha, now what is the level of a person of no integrity? The Buddha says a person of no integrity is ungrateful and unthankful. Okay? This ingratitude, this lack of thankfulness is advocated by rude people. It is entirely on the level of people with no integrity. So that's how the Buddha says. If you are if you are not grateful, you have no integrity. And so this is people who are not thankful. A person of integrity is grateful and thankful. Okay? This gratitude, this thankfulness is advocated by civil people. It is entirely on the level of people with integrity. This is the Katanyu Sutta. Okay? So in the Katanyu Sutta, it is about ethics and civility. The Buddha teaches us how to live a very ethical life is to remember to be grateful. How to live a civil life is remember to be grateful. Okay? Proper gratefulness is the very reason for the absence of stinginess, the Buddha says. Correct? Proper gratitude is the very reason for the absence of stinginess, which is the quality of the noble ones. Correct? And then, of course, from there you can cultivate what we need to make sure that we are grateful people, and this will lead you to be more generous. When you're grateful, you must repay people's gratefulness. We'll come to the subject of the two kinds of people. Okay, I tell you, monks, there are two people that are not easy to repay. Now, the Buddha focuses on the Katanyu Sutta. The Buddha says the grateful people are reliable. Correct? The ungrateful people are not reliable. That's what the Buddha says. And then the Buddha says that, now the Buddha continued in the Katanyu Sutta, the Buddha said, I tell you, monks, there are two people that are not easy to repay. Which two? Your mother and father. They are our first bodhisattva in our life. They are the bodhisattvas of our life. Correct? We realized when I became a Buddhist, when Buddhism came to my life, we realized that what my mother has taught me, do good, don't be rude, be grateful to people, say thank you to people. And this is reaffirmed. When Buddhism came to my life, I noticed that the Buddha's teaching merely reaffirmed my mother's teaching to me. Right? Things that my mother has taught me, yes, on gratitude, the Buddha has put it down. So the Buddha has reaffirmed our parents' teaching, meaning our parents were actually bodhisattvas of our life. They are our first bodhisattvas of our life. And then here the Buddha says they are the two people which is not easy to repay. Okay? Your mother and father, these are the two people. Even if you were to carry your mother on one side of your shoulder, your father on the other side for 100 years, the Buddha says, carry your mother on this shoulder, your father on this shoulder for 100 years. Let them do their business here. You clean, you wash, you massage them every day. Even that is not enough to repay what they have done to you. Even that is not enough to repay the kindness and how they have looked after you and the training they gave you. That's how I learned from my parents. And that's why I am still a Buddhist. And they brought me to temple, Pai Kuan Yin. Then from there I developed. And they taught me not to do wrong things, to do the right things. I realized that, yes, when Buddhism came to my life, I realized, yes, the Buddha is reaffirming what my mother taught me. Then that confirms that my parents were my first bodhisattvas. They taught me Buddhism first. Of course, we label it as Buddhism now, but they taught us ethical life. That is what Buddhism is advocating for. The Buddha is advocating for gratitude. It's about civility. It's about ethics. Correct? Okay, then the Buddha says, even you carry them for 100 years, they do their business here and all those things, you still cannot repay them. Then how? How do you repay them? Right? Of course, you want to repay them, when the Buddha says, yes, according to the Buddha, The best way to repay back is to help them to grow in conviction, in Saddha. Saddha in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. You must get them, help them to grow in the conviction of Saddha. Then let them grow in the in virtue, sila. They must improve in the sila. Teach them to have faith in the Buddha, and teach them to have sila and learning of the suttas, learning of being good, and then let's learn to be generous, and then eventually this wisdom will rise in them. And that is the only way to pay our parents, is to let them grow in the conviction in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Take them to the temple, let them have that faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha first, then slowly they investigate, they become virtuous people. Teach them virtues, teach them how to do to learn the Dhamma a bit, teach them how to do charity, and eventually that wisdom will arise in them, and that is the only way to pay our parents. Okay? And of course, be careful, we must not ill-treat our parents. You see, ill-treating your parents, there'll be a lot of repercussions. I may not want to continue with that part, but just round up a bit. So we must ever be respectful to our parents. Don't ill-treat our parents. Now, the repercussions are big. Example, King Bimbisara, his son imprisoned him, usurped the throne, actually killed him in a way, because when the son realized he was wrong to take him out of prison, he died already in prison. So indirectly, the son killed him. King Ajatasattu killed his father, King Bimbisara. Don't forget, King Ajatasattu's son also killed him to usurp the throne, correct? It happens like that. And his grandson will kill his son. So it continues, So it went for 3 generations. So don't do that. Don't ever be ungrateful to your parents. You must respect your parents. So don't be ungrateful. So that is one example, King Ajatasattu. See, 3 descendants, all happened. Now, don't forget Arahant Moggallana also, right? He became an Arahant, But because before he became the disciple of the Buddha, he had a wife. Then he listened too much. He was a very filial son, but the wife psychoed him. Kasih kepala pusing sama dia. Then he took his parents to the forest and killed the parents. Correct? And even Moggallana and Arahant, why? He still has to die a gruesome death because of that he had done to his mother. Correct? But luckily, he knows how to repay his mother when he realized that when he did a lot of meditation, he visited hell, and then he found that his mother was born, and then suffering in hell, and then she can't eat food, she can't eat food. Every food that he tried to feed her turned into burning charcoal. She couldn't eat, He fed her with food, but when the food went to the mouth, it turned to burning charcoal, so she couldn't eat. So he went back, asked the Buddha for advice, what to do. So that's where the Buddha taught him to do offering, to do dana to monks and all that in name of the mother. So this is the teachings of the Buddha. To do charity, to do this kind of offerings is actually also not, yes, the Buddha didn't specifically say Qingbing must go, but the Buddha has indirectly taught us many, many, many ways of honoring our parents, which is also coinciding with our Qingbing season today. So we must always remember, right, their gratefulness. So this is what I have learned. I'm very happy now that when I go to my parents' grave, I'm very happy that I'm able to tell them that I'm grateful to them. They were my first teachers in life. They look after me very well. Now I have a family, and I have my children and my grandson. So I'm grateful to them. This is all gift from them. I'm very grateful to them. So I do my Qingbing full-heartedly. I have no reservation for Qingbing, because I'm grateful to them. right? So that is what the Buddha taught me. So that's what Buddhism has taught me. First quality I learned is gratefulness, and that's what the Buddha taught us about gratefulness first. Yeah, I mean, he was grateful to the Bodhi tree. Don't forget. And I'm here. I'm grateful to my parents, and I am really happy to go. Any chengbeng we try not to miss lah. So far, as long as we didn't reach, we try lah. But of course, what we are saying here is these rites and rituals and tradition, where possible, if we can follow, we follow. But don't let these rites and rituals and tradition bring fear into your life. Then it is no good. Supposing, example, you have to miss one chengbeng, fine, we miss the chengbeng. We can do chengbeng in our heart, we can do chengbeng anywhere, correct? Don't let that fear to come you, oh, you don't do chengbeng this year, you're going to face misfortune this year. That is wrong practice, correct? Don't let fear element come into our cultural practice. That is completely wrong. All right. As much as we want to express our gratitude to our parents, don't be afraid of any punishment if for some reasons we did not do this year. That is important. Don't let fear interfere with our cultural practice. Okay. And I think with that, I think I will say thank you very much for listening, and I hope it was useful to you. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Over to you, Brother Terence.
Thank you, Bro Leng Huat, for today's sharing. Now, since it's Chengbing period, dedicate those merits to all beings, seen and unseen. Akasatha ca bummata dewa naga mahiddhika punyang tamanumuditva chiram rakantu loka sasanang ettavata ca amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe dewa sabbe bhuta sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Now let's recall all our departed relatives and we chant these stanzas. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Let these merits accrue to my relatives. May they be well and happy. And finally, aspirations. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavani Bana Patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for watching. For other videos, please visit the links below. Bye bye for now. See you again next week.